Trollord Games. Join the fray.
Be live in 2 seconds. And all right. So hello and welcome to the Pools of Narrheit, our Castles and Crusades game that runs on Wednesday nights, usually starting at 7, but I had a little bit of technical difficulties today. And so I'm going to have my players introduce themselves. We'll start with Robert.
I'm never first. I'm Robert, and Rekmit is back. Dwarven Rune Mark.
And Matt.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Matt. I will be playing Trip again tonight, who is a Primal Druid.
And George.
Hi, I'm George. I'll be playing Jake Tildor, Cleric of Durendale tonight.
And Alex.
Hey guys, I'm Alex. I'll be playing Burt Longfellow, a Halfling Rogue.
And Chris.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm going to be playing Grimbol Oathborn, a warrior priest who is a dwarf.
Excellent. And Richard will be with us, but he's running a little late, so when he hops in, I'll have him introduce himself. Who wants to do a recap of the last episode?
On my notes.
I can do it unless anyone else wants to do it.
Oh, go on, you go, because I've lost my notes.
Yeah, you can do it.
All right. I believe the group came back towards Indelofen and found that the town was being attacked by a horde of goblins. The party, in what's become usual fashion, couldn't decide what to do. Some decided to head up towards Half Hill. One decided to head down towards the shore to try and flag down a boat to find out more information from the residents fleeing the city. They believe that at that point we decided to go and sneak up towards the city into the south side by the walls into a grove of trees and try to find a way into the city. I believe one of the members went and grabbed to get the two that had headed towards Halfhill to bring them back. Then we skirted around the wall into the city and attacked was it an ogre or was it a giant?
Ogre that was carrying the
Ogre,
Elder
yeah.
King.
It was an ogre with a Master Blaster goblin on his back. I believe we attacked that. I believe a couple of the members and the townspeople went up into the tower to try and use the large ballista or large heavy crossbows to attack. I believe a couple of us attacked the ogre. Bernie got smushed. I believe Garrett got caught underneath the giant or ogre. The goblin, Eldritch Goblin, I believe, rummaged through Bernie's pack, pulled out the item. I think it was a horn that he'd gotten, and seemingly disappeared. And then I believe the rest of the goblins pretty much rushed and left town, and we began to try and put out the fires.
Pretty much it.
All right. So, very good. So, so what's on the screen right now is a map of the current state of the town. And so actually I have a bigger one for the audience to look at here. What did you say? You just rotate the recap. Well, maybe. But if somebody... So for the audience, I give XP for the recap. So if somebody doesn't want to do it, they just don't get the XP ever. But here is a large map of the town. This sort of shows the destruction, okay? And the thing about the destruction of the town is here's actually a closer Here's a closer view, a little bit closer view of it. And so all of these things that look like building outlines, that's just showing you where the foundation was, but basically the building has been burned to the ground. There are also lots of piles of rubble and junk and things that were on fire all over. Those are not necessarily rocks. I know it looks like it's all rocks in the picture, and in some cases it is rocks. For example, some of the area over here by the Abbey of Aihrde has been damaged, so that is stone. And down by the southern wall of the town, the sort of in the south west there is a little bit of rubble where the goblins were trying to break through the wall. But the majority of the rubble that's in town is actually wood and other burnt items, okay, that are around. And so the reason I say that is because for the next few days in game, really what's happening is a few things, okay. So here's what's happening. The townsfolk who had fled on boats to get away from the goblins and to save themselves, they're coming back to town, of course, right? So they didn't go very far. They're coming back to town. All of the mess of all of the piles of rubble and all of those things, that's all being cleaned up, okay? The guards are on high alert. They're doing regular patrols through the entire town and around the perimeter of the town as well, and in some of the nearby hills and forested areas, okay? The Baron has opened the doors of the castle to allow in any resident of the town and also any visitor who is here now and basically stuck here to stay in the castle free of charge, with as much comfort as possible, although it's not like it's a giant hotel, it's just the castle. But he's opened his doors so that no one is having to sleep outside. He's also he sent a team of advisors around to try to make it so that they could get an idea of the actual damages, and so that they can get an idea of how they can organize the rebuilding of the city and what needs to be rebuilt first and things like that. The Baron has issued a decree that every able-bodied person in town has to work on a crew for 4 hours per day until the town is stabilized and rebuilt. That he's paying everyone for these 4 hours, and he's paying 2 silver pieces per person for every 4-hour shift. Anyone who is also doing their regular jobs, such as working at the mill or running the tavern or whatever, they're also getting their regular wages, and the Baron is paying those regular wages, okay? So he's trying to make it so that rebuilding the town doesn't cost the residents anything. He's footing the bill for the entire effort, and he is also designating different work crews. And so for those people that are working for 4 hours a day to help rebuild the town, he's organized into several different little task groups. And so they're doing things like removing destroyed structures, going and cutting down new trees to mill new lumber to build new wooden structures, delivering wood from the mill to the different locations that need to be repaired and rebuilt, general labor doing the actual construction portion of it, heavy lifting of rocks and stones and large rocks, small stones, and wood, general cleanup. Everybody's basically doing general cleanup at this point. Treating the wounded and the sick, also helping to go out to the farms and help bring in the harvest to bring food in. The Baron is also paying for the food. He's buying it for the town so that everybody has enough to eat. Okay. And so over the next 5 days, basically the decree says for 5 days, everybody in town who is able-bodied and well enough has to work for 4 hours on one of those tasks. Okay. And so that's what's happening right now. So they're organizing this enormous rebuilding effort, okay? And since he's organizing this enormous rebuilding effort, everybody in the party who is a member of the town and wants to stay in town is therefore going to have to do some of these tasks, okay? And so there you go. Now, we don't have to necessarily narrate the next 5 days in painstaking detail, but if you just want to say a little bit about what you think that you would be doing during this 5-day period, other than sort of resting and taking care of your day-to-day sort of maintenance of your equipment and all that stuff. But, what work crews are you on? And if there's anything specific that you need to happen or that you want to happen, go ahead and say that as well. So we'll start with George. I'll start in the lower corner there.
So Jake Tildor, he'll be going through and he'll be helping treat the wounded and the sick whenever possible on his for his time there. I think that would best serve him in the town, as well as the rest of the time going through and offering up any prayers and things like that for the people, spiritual guidance of sorts to get the people back on track. That this is just a temporary setback.
Okay. And so that was Jake. What did Elgar do?
Edgar would be he'd be going through and helping remove some of the rubble, different structures in town, and look to salvage whatever's possible. Whether it's furniture, wood, stone, to rebuild. Looking at foundational stuff, things like that.
Okay. Alex, what are Burt and Gil doing?
Burt would be focusing on food, so for his labor party, he'd be helping with the mill, and on other downtimes, he'd be helping in the tavern, helping serve and cook there. And then Gil would be booking it off to Halfhill, so he'd kind of either slip out, or if he can get permission to leave, he would leave, head up north to Halfhill.
Okay. Chris, what are Leonise and Grimbol doing?
So Leonise would be just helping around town, clearing up in general. Maybe going help, making sure we've got enough sources of food around, doing some hunting if necessary. Grimbol will be doing his best to tend to people's wounds and heal them, and giving them some spiritual comfort as needed.
Okay. And Matt?
So Zeno came back from training and is helping with the removing destroyed structures and kind of burying the dead. He wants to kind of look into seeing if he finds his friends, because assuming he went off, a little distance to go train, he wants to make sure they're not among the dead people. And while he does that, he's definitely going to head over to Rekmit's farm, connect with him, and then see if Rekmit's got some ideas on anyone who might still be alive that we can start making some inquiries, very discreet inquiries about how to sell this ancient gold or where it might come from, information about that. Because while we're rebuilding, we're going to be meeting whoever's left in the town, assumingly. Trip was initially going to help out the wounded up at the monastery, but he wanted to go with Gil, and so there's 5 days. DM Samuel, would you allow, can Trip go up to Halfhill with Gil, check what's going on, and then come back to inform everybody else what happened up there?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
So that's what Trip is going to do, and then he'll come back at the end of the 5 days to inform everybody else.
Okay. So it turns out that Halfhill, because it is, just so everybody knows, because Halfhill is completely inside the hill, they actually have 2 separate areas where they can barricade and where they have a really nice structural separation between the town and anything outside. And they barricaded pretty quickly. They sort of realized they had a lookout who realized what was happening, and they all got all of their people to safety. So, and they closed up shop, and the goblins passed them by. They didn't even stop to take pot shots or do anything else. But of course, the the militia leader, the town captain, right, Lori Littlefeet, she is very angry because, of course, the mayor, Cormano Bramblebaker, was absolutely wrong about any threat whatsoever. But of course now they're fighting because he's saying, well, I was right. They passed us by. They didn't want anything to do with us. We had no casualties. We had no damages. I was completely right. All we had to do was close the doors for a while, and they moved on by, and it was not a problem. And she thinks that's absolutely disgusting, and that they should have followed the goblins and done like a pincer move to force those goblins away so that they didn't do more damage to Indelofen. So there's a little argument going on there. There's a little bit of a political issue in town, but otherwise their people are completely fine. In terms of Indelofen, let me see if I can find my note here. Gotta look over here. In terms of Indelofen, there were not a lot of casualties. Because the goblins, the attack was a very structured attack. Similarly, there's not a lot of damage to... They didn't damage the bridges at all. And you would think if they were being tactical in a military way, they would either wanted to have taken control of those bridges right away, or they would have destroyed them. And they did neither of those things. So the bridges are fully intact. Of course, the Baron has his architects and builders looking and making sure they're still structurally sound. But so far, it seems like there's nothing wrong with the bridges. And the majority of the roads in town, now granted, they're just kind of light cobblestone roads. It's not like they're enormous built, beautiful structures or something. But generally speaking, those have not been damaged either. Only a few of the docks were damaged. The majority of the docks are actually okay. Most of what they did was come in and burn down fully wooden structures. They didn't even try to kill a lot of people. They were more causing structural havoc than they were killing people. The total population that lives actually in town is about 120, plus probably 20 or so visitors. Of that 140 people, there's only a casualty rate of about 10, and there were only about 5 farmers killed, because there's about 300, about 150 farmers around in the surrounding areas, and only 5. They didn't even really attack the farms, other than one farm that you can see up in the upper right hand side of that's closest to town. That farmhouse got burnt down. Everything else was left intact in terms of the farms. So they didn't actually damage your food supply. They didn't damage any stone buildings other than the cathedral that they kind of damaged. And they didn't damage any roads. All they did was wreak a lot of havoc and set a lot of fires. And, of course, they stole Bernie's backpack. But other than that, it was definitely... It becomes apparent as you're cleaning up that it was coordinated in a way that had a specific purpose. And that purpose wasn't necessarily to kill a lot of townsfolk and destroy the entire town and take it over or something. And that's actually that assertion is also supported by the fact that they did not even touch Half Hill. If they really wanted to just come in and wreak havoc and cause a lot of death, they could have sent a detachment to take care of Half Hill and to mess with Half Hill, and they didn't do that. So it's a little bit puzzling, but So there's not a ton of damage other than to the wooden structures.
So do we think the attack, or have we gleaned anything that the attack may have been a ruse to get us in there so the goblin could steal the backpack?
It's hard to say. There's not really evidence of that one way or the other. I mean, you could easily come to that conclusion. You could also just say, well, they got word that the backpack was in town, or they,
Bernie's fault.
It's Bernie's fault, yeah.
Someone in town informed whoever these people are about burning. He's loose-lipped.
I'm not sure there's evidence for that one way or the other, but okay.
It's fact.
As far as Rekmit cares. So in any way, so Gil and is it Trip or is it Zeno that went with Gil?
Trip went up there with Gil.
Okay, so that's what Trip and Gil find. They find that not much happened at all in Half Hill, and there's political strife going on, but that's a separate issue.
So yeah, I'll either leave Gil up there and head back to Indelofen, or if he wants to come with.
I'll stay up there for a bit, see if I can help settle this political debate.
Okay.
So I'll come back to Indelofen and tell everybody the halflings of Half Hill are doing all right. Fill them in on what happened.
So one of you at least is going to have to be working in one of the task groups with Grimbol the dwarf. So I'll let you decide who meets Grimbol.
Grimbol, what were you doing? I didn't pay that much attention.
Yeah, there wasn't somebody was in there, right?
I think it was you and Jake were both treating wounded, right?
Yeah, they're going to say Jake and I were treating the wounded, right? So it'd be...
There you go.
Yeah.
So after a little while of treating wounded, Grimbol kind of realizes that, while not exactly the same, he and Jake do share some of the same values. And so he introduces himself and goes... and kind of wanders up to him and hits him on the shoulder and says, "Hi, I'm Grimbol. Pleased to meet you."
Grimbol. Well, I saw you working here for a while. Who's your god?
All fathers, of course. Are there any others?
Many others. Many greater gods.
Oh, I'll take your word for it. I have no problems with other faiths, other beliefs. So what brings you here?
Well, I have a group of adventurers that I lead.
Really? That's interesting.
Very, very interesting.
No elves, right?
There's one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
He's
only
great,
one.
though. You'd like it.
Really? Female elf, even worse.
Shouldn't be that way. She's a great lass.
Does she drink?
More than a fish.
Ah, there is hope. There is hope. Well,
Constantly with a glass of this scotch in her hand.
oh,
One of those types.
yes, all right, fair enough. But
Seems like it's always full as well.
oh, a magic glass, or does she never drink it?
Oh, she drinks it, trust me.
Oh.
Don't try to take it from her, though.
I would never part a person from their drink.
You might even like her.
Tell me what happened here. I'm walking down the road and saw the fire and all these goblins.
Goblins, they just came in and raided the place. Complete craziness, I say.
Well, it seems like they got rid of them. I saw them running off as I came down.
They did. My group, they settled it, I would say. Made him run in fear.
Interesting.
That's what the other dwarf told me.
There's another dwarf.
Oh, yeah. 2 brothers. Ask me, one is smarter than the other. But we keep Rekmit around. He's good. He's a good man. Good dwarf.
All dwarves are good. Just some are better than others.
And we have a halfling, too.
A mixed bunch, I see.
Well, Durendale takes them all under his wings.
I'm not sure about going under Durendale's wings, but wandering the road on my own, and it is a dangerous place.
It is. Why don't you come with us?
All right.
It'll get a whole lot more dangerous.
That sounds like it could be fun.
It is. Why, we even have a monk in our group.
Not many of those around.
No, but he's strong and fast.
I met one once. Strange character.
Really?
Yes. Muttering to himself all the time.
Yeah. We also have a gnome. One of your brethren, right? Cousins?
A gnome, an elf, a couple of dwarves.
And me.
Mixed group.
Durendale.
Well, you certainly know how to pull them all together.
Oh, yeah. It's my charisma. That's what I say. Actually, it's the divine faith. The wisdom, the spiritualness that I carry with
me. The aura with which you project yourself, clearly.
Absolutely. Come on, dear friend, let's go.
Indeed. I think we're done here for the day. I'll buy you a drink. Do you drink?
Of course.
Oh, just checking.
Meanwhile, there's a pile of people probably moaning and groaning, and we're going to go off and have a pint.
Yeah. Hey. Priorities, man. Priorities.
So, on the 5th day of the reconstruction, Jake, a messenger comes to you with a message from Alistair. Alistair is the priest of St. Luther. That is your contact at the House of St. Luther. And the message just says that the Baron wants you to gather your people because he wishes to have an audience with you.
I would assume that I'm still drinking with Bull at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Show him the note. And I was like, see? Even the Baron wants us to come and help.
Interesting.
So he wants an audience on the 6th day at 10 a.m.
I carefully put my mug back down on the table wherever I can find a spot that it stays rested at. I'm like, come on, let's go meet the fellows. Although I don't know where the woman elf is. Come on.
Okay.
So, I'll try to track down the rest of my party.
Samuel, what was the name of who the message was from?
Alistair. Alistair is the priest of St. Luther who runs the House of St. Luther.
Okay.
Which is one of the only wooden buildings in town that did not get touched at all. So if we look over here in the sort of northeastern area of town, you can see that this farmstead is the one that got burnt. They destroyed 2 structures on it. This right here is the House of St. Luther, this large complex here. Oh. Okay. And it's on a hill, of course, but you'll notice none of these structures got damaged. This right here did not get damaged. So pretty much all of these here didn't get damaged. This also did not get damaged. But then when you start looking below that, all of these got burnt down. Most of these got some damage.
So you wonder if they purposely passed it by to get to that farmhouse. Maybe the priests of St. Luther are in cahoots with these goblins. Where's that other St. Luther guy we got?
That would be Edgar.
Oh, yeah.
Disappeared. Very suspicious.
He's probably interrogating a few goblins, gnomes, all under the letter G.
They're both kind of short, easy mistake.
Yeah, it happens.
So I assume Jake is going to tell the rest of the group that there is a desired meeting, desired
Absolutely.
audience with the Baron.
I'll try to mention it to the guards that if Trip comes back, if he does come back, when he does, to have them reach out to me, and I'll also mention that on the 6th day we have this meeting with the Baron.
So I'd say probably like on the night of the fifth night, maybe before you got the message, I would have returned from Half Hill and kind of updated you guys sitting around the tavern, drinking a pint. Paid Rekmit his 15 gold back.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right.
Let us head to the Baron's Keep then.
Yeah, let's see what this meeting's all about.
So did you all invite Grimbol?
Oh, Grimbol was with me, and I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
And all of you are going to attend the audience?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I would stop by and tell Rekmit as well, or his brother. Introduce Grimbol to him. Be like, see? Right over there.
Another dwarf. Grimbol raises glass, or his tankard, and
Yeah, you'll see that Rekmit is even more bedraggled and exhausted than normal. Kind of a tall for a dwarf and very slim and slight and wiry. Big old bags under his eyes from basically non-stop working and studying for the last 5 days.
look like you need some sustenance.
How fares the farm?
Farm's fine. The harvest has been intense. Trying to get all the food for the people stored up and safe. I don't think the farm burned too much. See singe marks on his beard and his hair.
You might want to fix that, but we are going to see the Baron.
Mind your own business. I ain't making myself pretty. I've been working all week. I ain't used to this anymore.
What, the work or the looking pretty?
Obviously work, because I always look pretty.
So, what news of Half Hill?
Half Hill is fine. They were able to barricade themselves in the bunkers, and the goblins pretty much ignored them on the way to Indelofen. Gil has decided.
With them?
Say it again?
Suspicious. Are they in league with them? It sounds very suspicious.
Oh, I don't think so. They were
Sort of like
within
that
the hills.
St. Luther place that was bypassed. They might all be in cahoots.
Gil has decided to remain up there for a short time. They are having some political differences between the captain of the guard and the mayor.
And the Temple of Eolor was attacked, wasn't it? Interesting. Well, that side of the river did get hit hard as I look over my shoulder at it.
Yeah, they've needed a lot of lumber.
And
The
it's good.
acolytes are having to live out under the SARS, and the workshop is ruined.
And we got Burt back. Welcome back, Burt.
Oh,
This is our halfling.
Does Burt look any quicker?
nah, just chubbier.
All right, Jake, what does the Baron want?
Wants us probably for our noble deeds,
Okay.
goodwill, and everything else.
Right, he's a lord, probably wants his dirty work done.
So, you go to the castle, and the Baron's majordomo, whose name is Elevon, shows you to a private meeting room and says, "Thank you for coming, and please wait here. Baron Kraystock will be here momentarily to discuss his proposal with you." And he turns to leave.
Is the room richly decorated?
It's pretty plain. It does have a couple of tapestries on the wall. One of them has the Baron's family crest, and one of them has a tapestry that shows, it looks like a landscape view of the bay. So, of Indel Bay. So,
How large is the room?
it's probably 20 by 20. It's not very big. It has 2 long, narrow wooden tables in it.
Are there any columns?
Right now they're set together as if they're one large table, and there's chairs around the sides. But you can tell that those 2 tables can be separated, so you can make them into 2 smaller tables.
Any refreshments there?
No.
Are there any columns or anything like that you could kind of statues or anything to stand behind or kind of hide behind?
Nope. There's a set of double doors that you entered in through. There are a couple of small, narrow windows on the outside wall. And then there's the 2 tables and chairs, and that's pretty much it.
I lean over to Rekmit real quick. I quickly put my arm around like the top of his shoulder, and I go, "Try not to touch too much." And then I look over at Burt, and I go, "The same for you."
And after that, Rekmit wanders over by the tapestry and just starts touching it.
I was looking behind it, like, ooh, what is this?
Checking out the quality of the thread work.
And then I do
Mopping his brow.
trip. They're very organized, Grim. Very organized.
Whatever you say, boss.
They're called the Revengers.
A couple of minutes later, the doors open, and Alistair, the priest of St. Luther, comes in, and next to him is the portmaster, whose name is Aihrde, that almost all of you met the night that you walked in and saw the town being sieged, because he was the one that was driving the boat, trying to, let's see, is that, no, yeah, he was on the boat, right? Either way, you met him previously as well, because he's the portmaster, so he runs the port office, so all ships have to go through his office to get checked in and registered and all that stuff. So anyway, so Alistair is there, and Portmaster Aihrde, and then there is a gentleman who is heavily armored and has a tunic on, and the tunic over his armor has the crest of the house of Baron Craystock, so it's the same crest that's on the tapestry. And next to him is the Baron. And so the four of them sort of walk in. As Alistair and Alder walk in, they kind of step to the side to get out of the way. And the human male in armor sort of steps forward and says, "I present to you Sir Baron Craystock. Baron Sir Craystock." And he steps aside, and the Baron kind of takes a couple of steps, and then Alistair and Alder both lean over, and they shut the doors behind them as they fully came through. So now the room is completely closed.
Trip is going to look over at Rekmit and be like, whisper, "Are we supposed to bow?"
Rekmit will take whatever strange hat he had on his head, take it off, and just small little nod of his head down. And let go of the tapestry.
You do that, you pull the tapestry down.
He ain't that strong.
I was thinking he was more or less swinging on.
The only way it would come down is he got tangled in it and ended up on top of him.
Does the Baron look like a pretty tough guy, or is he old, feeble, fat?
He is a human male in his probably mid-50s, who is well built, and he also looks like he has some very fine armor on under his sort of overcloak. He definitely has some gray on the temples, and his face is pretty wrinkled in terms of just sort of natural aging. You're guessing he's probably, in human years, probably 55 or so. But he does not look frail. He's not huge and towering. He's not like 6'5" and like 300 pounds of muscle or anything like that. He's sort of an average size, 5'11", probably 190 pounds, thin but probably strong, much more fit than either Alistair or the Portmaster, by the way. Both of them are relatively portly individuals who obviously sit a lot during their jobs, and they've put on a spare tire, so to speak. The other guy, the captain of the Baron's private guard, is very fit and very imposing looking. But other than introducing the Baron, he has said nothing. He's just sort of standing off in the corner with his hand on the hilt of his sword. The Baron just sort of looks at each of you and says, "Thank you for having an audience with me. Please be seated." He sort of motions to the table.
Are there enough seats?
There are.
Guess Rekmit will go, "Well, thank you, Baron." And I'd say, let's all sit down.
So the Baron sits at the head of the table on the far end, and Alistair and the Portmaster sit on either side beside him. Like, he's on the end and they're sort of on the ends of the other sides. So,
unless anyone attempts to, Rekmit will try to actually sit on the opposite end. Unless anyone else jumps to it first.
No.
As Rekmit sits on the other end, the heavily armored gentleman taps him on the shoulder and says, "Heads of tables are reserved for noble born. Please sit on this side."
Rekmit grunts at him and sees if he's really serious. All smut and like he's just been working and got all the soot on him.
Mm-hmm. He's completely,
Yeah.
like, stoic. No emotion on his face. Just the suggestion to move.
I think we as a party need to try to take turns sitting in that scene.
Rekmit's basically going to look at him, grunt, goes a suggestion, so he don't move.
After a couple seconds, he leans back down and gets pretty close to your ear and says, I suggest that you try not to offend the noble-born individuals in the room. And he just goes back to his corner.
Then I guess they shouldn't have put a chair there.
This is going great. This is a good start so far.
What's everyone else doing? Do you all sit down?
Yep.
I kind of do the whistle a little bit, like, and
Heal boy.
like over here. Come on, trying to be
Rekmit
discreet, but not really.
will take his chair from the center and slide it to the corner. Gonna find a loophole.
The chairs on the ends have arms, and the chairs on the sides do not have armrests, right? So it's also another sign of the station of...
I do a close enough, and I sit down in one of the chairs on the side, and I look over at the Baron, tap my fingers on the table a little, you know.
Grimbol just suddenly sits down on the table. Intrigued.
After everyone sits, the Baron says, pardon the delay. We're just waiting for one more guest.
Is there another seat, or are they all taken?
There is one more.
Okay.
It's an armless one on the side.
Be fun.
Good thing you took the one that you did.
About 5 minutes later, and so I don't know if you're going to try to make idle chit-chat or if you're just going to sit there silent. The Baron won't say anything. He does not say anything the entire 5 minutes.
Yeah. If it's quiet for about a minute, Rekmit will start talking to the other members to find out what happened to them during the week, because it sounds like they all had different jobs than he did, so yeah, he'll make a small little chatter to find out what was going on, because he heard some stuff from Garrick, but that's about it, and just find out the details from everyone else, and how Zeno's training went, and how... Shoot, I can't remember the darn... Alex, what's your character's name?
Burt!
How Burt's training went. Sorry. All these characters are confusing me. I can't remember who I am, much less anyone else.
Check out a stomach note on me.
After 5 minutes pass and you all chat because Rekmit is forcing you to, the guy in armor sort of steps forward and he opens the door and stands at attention. And a human woman comes in, and she is dressed in finery. I mean, like the highest grade materials, you know, foreign silks, very delicate sort of workings in her cloak and in her tunic. She's wearing pants, not a gown. And it becomes obvious as you watch her move that she also has armor on under her overclothing. And when she enters the room, the Baron stands up.
I'll take the cue and I'll stand up as well.
Yeah, Grimbol will stand up as a woman walks in.
Yep, seeing everyone else, Burt will stand up as well.
It may not look like it, but Trip stands up as well.
Do you get off the
Stand,
chair?
like, on the chair, yeah.
Can you even get on the chair?
Rekmit will stand up, but he'll be the last one to do it and slide the chair back a little bit from the corner of the table.
As the woman walks in, she nods at the Baron, and the guy in armor shuts the door. And then he walks over and he he walks to where he's standing, where that chair would have gone, and he looks down at Rekmit and he says, you are obstructing Lady Helen's chair.
I won't acknowledge him in any way, shape, or form. I will look over towards the Lady Helen and go, Lady Helen, I have your chair ready for you. I'll slide it over back behind the table and offer her to sit down and help her sit down, and then I'll go sit on the other chair.
The captain just stands back and lets it happen.
Here comes
I
the
trust
kid.
you wiped it down afterwards and cleared the mud off it.
Oh, I did this to my eyebrows too, you know.
I do the little golf clap.
Here comes the smolder, baby.
Lady Helen says, "Thank you, kind bearded sir." And she sits with a flourish. After she sits, the Baron sits.
Yeah. Once she's seated and Grimbol will sit down.
Burt will sit down as well.
The armored gentleman now stands at the door, so he's basically blocking the door so that no one could come in. The Baron says, "Well, I apologize for the delay. This is my wife, the Lady Helen. She is very well versed in the goings-on in town, and she is one of my closest advisors. So I've invited her to this meeting, as well as Master Alistair, whom I think you know from the House of St. Luther, and Portmaster Alder, who has told me of the good works that you did during the siege. I would like to personally thank you for protecting Indelofen from further harm, and also for the work that you have done to help rebuild our city." This meeting might take some time. Would you like some refreshments?
Grimbol.
Burt gives zero for that. Say, yeah, for sure.
Burt's stomach
wondering when you'd
growls.
Grimbol is like, well, never go amiss. Fine ale would do nicely, thank you.
The Baron nods at the guy in armor by the door, and he steps out. The Baron says, "I know that many of you," and he looks at Rekmit, "are not exactly well versed in the ways of noble houses and the pageantry that is often entailed in our ceremonial meetings, but this is an official audience with the leader of your town. And I am to understand that you and your family have been in the area for a very long time. So I will forgive your offense this one time."
Thank you for your kindness, Baron. Pray tell, why have you called us all here to this meeting? I know that we tried to give some warning to the town by turning in the goblin heads that we had found.
Yes, I was told by Derngath that you did turn in some goblins, and that we actually owe you a bounty for those parts.
That would be most welcome and most appreciated.
Of course. For us, of course, it's not about the money, you understand. It's about the knowledge. I wish that we had known sooner and acted upon it faster. To make sure that this does not happen again, we are going to propose to the townsfolk that we finish building the wall around town. As you know, it only covers the western half. The eastern half could do much better to have a wall there. We can also do something to secure the port sides and the river entries into town. Of course, none of this is of your concern. You are not architects, nor are you laborers. However, what this will require is a quarry and a mining operation, because we will need the stone to help build the wall. And we will need to stay organized so that we can keep rebuilding town. As you see outside, there is a lot more work to do. Also, we'll need an infusion of money, so we'll need to reopen a mine so that we can start the gem trade again. The gem trade is something that my forefathers did before I was even knighted by King Drummond. My father and grandfather had a working gem mine, but that has been closed for quite some time. Richard, you got a heck of an echo. So,
Echo from the Baron.
So the thing is that we need to reopen the mine because we need lots of stone. And we need Richard to turn off that echo.
Richard, plug your headphones in.
I don't have headphones.
Mute yourself. Do push the talk. Okay.
If you right-click his name in Discord, you can just manually mute him for yourself, and that'll get rid of the echo, at least for the Twitch stream. It'll stop him from coming up on your computer.
The problem then is I can't hear anything he says ever.
That's true, yeah. One of us will have to leave him unmuted to let us know, but we can at least have for the Twitch stream no echo.
Yeah. Okay, so let me also fix our names. So how about this? We'll pretend like... Well, let's do this. Richard will need to actually introduce his new character. So I need to fix everybody's names and portraits on here since Richard is here now. So Richard, if you want to introduce your new character and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then everybody can fill you in on exactly what's been happening since you just got here.
You might be having audio issues or something.
He's having a bunch of issues, I think.
Yeah.
Might be having audio issues or something.
He's having a bunch of issues.
Now I have him muted and it's still playing that echo.
I think you're picking it up, Dad, because it looks like it's bouncing from him to you based on it. Look who's talking.
Is he in the Twitch?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I think you're good now.
Wait, hold on. I can't hear him.
He just said, did that help any?
Yeah, I think you're good now.
Okay, how about now?
He just said, did that help? You still got a little bit of an echo, but at least we can hear you talking.
Yeah, it's definitely better.
I can't hear him talking at all, which means it's not coming through the Twitch.
I don't hear him.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
He said one sentence, did that help at all? And then he disappeared again.
Well, I'm still here, and it's like, I don't know what would help. I don't know.
Should we take like a little 5-minute break?
Yeah, let's take a break while we try to figure this out. So let me throw us over to the break screen. All right, and we are back. So, welcome back to Pools of Narrheit. Hopefully our technical issues are resolved for the evening. I apologize for that. This is Sam again, and I'm your castle keeper for the evening, and I'm here with my 6 awesome players, and the only one who you do not know yet is the new character played by Richard. And so, Richard, do you want to tell us a little bit about Mahl?
Oh no.
Apparently
Oh, no.
not.
All of a sudden got camera shy.
Let's give him a minute to hop back in. I'm not going to fix the names while we're doing this. So let's just move on. So the Baron says to you that it is really important to reopen the stone mine, the stone quarry, because they need to be able to get materials to finish building the wall. And secondly, I'm just going to hide all of our tags so that they're not blocking our view here. And secondly, we need to be able to open up a gem mine that has been closed for a while. And so those are actually 2 different locations. And what he wants to do is, he tells you, the stone quarry is to the northeast. And I want to send a group of people to reestablish the mine, the quarry, right? And pull high quality rock out of there. But it's very dangerous and there's no real road anymore. So we need a hardy group of skilled people to establish a road, to go find the location and establish a road, and then accompany the group that's going to start working that mine, that quarry. Okay, so that's what I want to ask you to do, is go find a quarry site, and then we'll establish a road there. Also, there's a mining site that's only a few miles away. All of these are up in the northeast in the Foothold Mountains. And if we can establish a route to and from both of those areas, it will make the construction of the wall much easier, and it will make the mining for ore and gems much easier in the future. I can't just send anyone out to do that. Half of the town is very afraid of goblin activity, and some of them are even reporting that they saw some of the goblins go up into the mountains, into the hills.
And please forgive me, Your Eminence, but it seems like a very simple task you're asking of us. What would be the what's the word? Recompensation? How do you say?
Recompense? Just recompense?
Recompense?
Recompense or compensation.
Yeah, you're making up a new word.
That's what I was thinking of. Compensation. Yeah, I
The
was
trick
mixing
would
them
come
up.
with recompensation perfectly well.
So, there are 2 things that I would like to propose. The first is that you would work directly for me. You would report directly to Captain Trestle. Captain Trestle is the gentleman who just went to tell the kitchen to prepare your refreshments. And in fact, when he says that word, right then the doors open and 5 serving people come in carrying big trays of food and drinks, and they put them all on the table in front of you. And then they pour Lady Helen's drink first, and then they pour the Baron's drink, and then they go around and they ask if you all want ale or wine. and then whichever one you choose, they pour it. And then they set the bottles back on the table, and they step back, and the armored gentleman comes back in, and he dismisses them and stands in the corner, shuts the doors and stands in the corner. So now there's lots of food. There's lots of food and drinks on the tables. And the Baron says, "Ah, Captain Trestle, I was just speaking of you. I would like to propose that the group report to you any of their findings. That way, you can always get access to Captain Trestle. You do not have to wait for an official audience with myself or with Lady Helen in order to get approval for anything that might need more funds or to report any official news."
What is Captain Trestle's facial reaction at that moment?
Basically stoic. His facial expression has not changed.
Yeah.
He just nods at the Baron when the Baron says that. So let's pause there for a second. Richard, is your audio stuff okay now?
Yeah, I accidentally hit another voice channel and wound up right after that. After you asked me, and I started talking, and I realized it. So, Mahl is a mist elf. Don't know if you guys understand how many people know the history of the mist elves, but the mist elves were rather mistreated and feel rather put upon because they were one of the few groups of elves that didn't flee from the red god, the horned god, rather, when he took control of the world during the Winter Dark. And they were hunted, they were killed, and there's few that have survived, and those that do, like Mahl, have a bit of a chip on their shoulder. And he is out hunting for any of the creatures that qualify as servants of the horned god, and particularly arcane goblins.
We got plenty of those around.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You should be happy.
We lost Matt. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, he mentioned he was fighting with his inner.
Yeah. It's a heck of a night for technical issues. That's okay, though.
Yeah, there's all sorts going on.
Yeah, he's popping in and out.
Yeah, my Discord keeps freezing up. I don't know what the deal is. Richard cursed me.
That's it.
Yes, I did.
Let's get that Albert back. So Mahl is the name of the mist elf. So, give me a few minutes of... So, Richard, you missed the intro, but it was already posted in Discord, like what was happening in the town for the past 5 days and all that. So you kind of know everything. I just said it verbally to everyone at the beginning so that the audience could hear it. Okay, to understand what's going on. And now 5 days have passed. And so at some point in those 5 days, Mahl needed to meet one of the group. Because at the end of the 5 days, the Baron asked for an audience with Jake Tildor and his adventuring company.
Okay.
So at some point, you either have to know one of them or you had to meet one of them. And so you all can discuss that. I think Jake has some ideas.
That's a good name, Tildor and Company.
I probably would have showed up in town trying to make sure that this is where the goblins had been, and the rumors that there was an arcane goblin with them.
I could have met him back coming back from Half Hill on the road, kind of told him our tales as we traveled together back to Indelofen. And then when we come back to town, I'll introduce him to Jake. This would be a good one for us to recruit, boss.
And Jake's response was,
What makes him so great?
He's a mist elf. There's only like 7 in the whole world.
And he wants to adventure with us?
I think he just wants to kill things that are of an evil intent.
Trip. I don't think we're that kind of group.
He said 2 words: kill goblins, and I'm all about that.
You need to put aside your racial affinities.
Never. Goblins and kobolds, they're disgusting. I won't stop until I purge the earth of them.
so,
Trip, we already had this conversation.
So does that mean, Jake, you invite Mahl to join the group, or no?
Well, just, keep it on the down low, okay? You just can't say that you're going to be killing people.
Why not?
People.
Go to straights will think about that.
For hundreds of years, they said they were going to kill my people.
By the rarity of being a mist elf, is he going to get strange looks from anybody that while we're walking around with him?
Yes.
I mean, he has blue skin and has orange hair.
Yeah, that
And
might do
purple
it.
eyes.
Yeah, they half of the people that know the group, that know you all, they keep looking at Mahl and whispering to each other, and Burt overhears them, and at one point they're whispering, "What happened to Leonise?"
Got eaten by the mist elf.
He's like,
Because, I mean, both of them are very foreign, but they're both elves, so everyone kind of thinks, oh, during the attack something happened to Leonise, and now Leonise is, like, blue-skinned and very different.
very different.
Trip.
Yeah, Leonise tried to save the dye store, and that's what happened.
Yeah, Leonise
Ended
was
up with the
defending the
blueberries.
tannery. Okay, so Mahl had come to the audience with the Baron. So Richard, you're in a room that is a relatively small room with one single long, well, it's actually two tables, but they're pushed up next to each other to make one table. And the Baron is at one end of the table, and his wife, Lady Helen, is at the other end, and the rest of you are all seated on the sides. There is one armored gentleman in the room who you now know his name is Captain Trestle, and he is the Baron's guard captain for the Baron's private forces. Okay. Rekmit, when everyone first came in, decided to sit on the end of the table instead of the side of the table, and Captain Trestle tried to suggest that he move, and Rekmit was having none of that. So there's a tiny bit of tension, but the Baron has had his kitchen staff prepare a bunch of refreshments for the group, and he is proposing that because of he thanked everyone for the good works that you all did, fighting off the goblins and helping to repair the town as much as it's been repaired so far, and is now proposing that he needs to do 2 things. He wants to finish building the wall around town, and that's going to take stone, so he needs to reestablish the quarry that's in the Foothold Mountains, and he also needs to reestablish a gem mine that apparently is also in the Foothold Mountains that is a holding, one of the holdings of his family, which neither one have been worked for a very long time. And so he is asking that the group of you working directly for him, but reporting to Captain Trestle, would help reestablish a road to both of those places, and of course clear out whatever whatever sort of structures are already there, clear those out, make sure there's no danger, because some of the people in town reported that some of the goblins from the siege actually fled into the Foothold Mountains. So that's what's on the table. Tripp asked what the compensation for this was, and the Baron didn't actually answer that question. He just said, I'm also he just sort of kept talking and started talking about the organizational structure. In other words, you're going to report to Captain Tressel. That way you don't have to wait to get an official audience with the Baron every time you need to talk to them about something.
Okay.
Question I have is, would Rekmit's family have been in the area while those mines, or the gem mine or the quarry, had been active?
Probably, because he mentioned his father and grandfather, and he's only 55, so we're only talking maximum 100 years.
Like Indelofen has been here longer than 100 years?
The town, as it is now, has not. It's a relatively young town, but there has been a settlement type of thing here for a very long time.
Okay. Just not trying to metagame it, just trying to understand.
Yeah, yep, no.
Now we get into the weird history of characters.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Rekmit has something to say, but he wants to wait till everyone's had their say in their talk and stuff. So I will wait till that point and let me know, and he'll stand up and do his little spiel.
Before we really piss the Baron off, Tripp is gonna thank him.
Bernie?
Of course, I would be most willing to help Indelofen regain its glory that it once had a few days ago. Might you have any type of magical item, Baron, in the family archives that might assist me in any way in this endeavor? It's going to be quite dangerous, I imagine. These mines have not been manned for quite some time. Who knows what we could find there?
No.
It's got to be a family treasury.
Or do you have something specific in mind? Some sort of tool or magical implement that you have in mind that you would like to acquire?
Something that might be able to make me quicker, a little bit speedier in my movements. That way I can dodge in and out. Being such a small gnome as I am, I usually don't get noticed anyway, but if I were just a bit quicker, it would be very helpful.
Well, I would have to have my Major Domo look at the treasury ledger to see what would be there that could possibly assist you with that issue.
I very much would appreciate it. Thank you for your kindness. And I will report as soon as I know anything.
Excellent. Anyone else have any questions or issues?
Go ahead.
No, so Grimbol's just sitting quietly listening.
I asked if we need any surveyors to come along with us or anyone to assist with, finding the best path for the road or anything like that.
Yes, I will be sending 2 assistants with you. They will be chosen by my architectural advisor, and they will be able to survey and report back a map of the best way to form a road to the mine and quarry.
Very well.
And he's just looking for one road that links Indelofen to the mine and the quarry, kind of like a loop sort of thing, or is it 2 separate roads, Indelofen mine and Indelofen quarry?
Well, we would like, of course, the shortest route, the safest route, and it would seem that we don't want to build too much road everywhere, but, we're unsure of how it will even look. It's been several years since me or anyone from my family has been to the mine site. So that is a little bit in question. It's also quite at a higher elevation, so it's not going to be as direct as a simple loop, but it would be nice if both of the roads could converge before we get back to the town proper.
So you say you want a safe route. How many troops are you putting out there to make it safe?
Well, we'll be making sure that every able-bodied male who wishes to joins the militia and serves a term of duty to ensure that our roads are all safe in this entire region.
Okay.
And speaking of the region, you wouldn't happen to have any maps of the old mines from back in the day, at least the plans of what they were then that we might use?
Unfortunately, there was a fire and several shelves of records were destroyed, and the mine layout and map was part of that.
Very unfortunate.
Mahl makes some grimacing faces and gestures like, yeah, sure. Okay.
Is that everybody except for Rekmit?
At that point, Lady Helen says, we need you all to understand that the goal is to make the entire region as safe as possible, to grow the population, and to ensure that the people of Indelofen can grow the town into a large enough city to become a main trading hub. We want to put Indelofen on the map, so to speak. Right now, it's a relatively little-known port. The capital city right now has the eyeballs, so to speak. When anyone thinks of this island, they think of the capital. We would like to make our region the main region that comes to mind when people think of this island. And therefore, we need to grow. In order to grow, we need to do these things. This goblin siege was quite a setback for us. We had plans to start expanding, let's say, in just a couple of months, but now that will have to be put on hold. So, what my dear husband has not mentioned to you is that we would like you to undertake this task, and the reason we're choosing you rather than just some of our simple militiamen or guards is that we want the task done quickly. You, as a group, are not timid. We know this. We understand this. We accept this. It's why you're being asked. So when you do this task, if you choose to undertake it, please understand that part of what you bring back will remain yours, and part of it will go into the Baron's coffers so that we can continue to support the town and expand the region.
All right, Rekmit, you're up.
Hey, I wasn't planning on her talking, so I had to change some stuff. Trying to plan this crap out is not easy. How I'm going to speak this so I don't get in too much trouble. All right. Rekmit will acknowledge the lady, acknowledge the Baron, stand up, kind of run his hands through his hair and try and fix up the parts of his beard that are all messed up and say, Lord Baron, the lady, pardon my demeanor and my current state, my current attitude. I've known your family my whole life. Your family has taken in, or at least allowed us to reside here and help grow this community. One of the concerns I have is you have to understand that our group has been chasing down a cult that we have found that has been chaotic and somewhat evil. And it tends to lead us to the east. Now, I don't know if that is what has triggered this goblin attack and what happened to the town. I am all for going to the north and the east. It has concerns that I would like that not necessarily are in jive with my family. But there are things that do concern me. My question is, if you're trying to grow this community and keep it safe, there's also other activities that are going on beyond having the ability to have a quarry and the gem mines, which I understand from your standpoint is very valuable. But we have found much activity that isn't necessarily related to it that is causing a lot of our concerns, and we were chasing those that were taking us to the east that we haven't addressed yet. So it is something we also need to take into consideration and make you aware of. Probably has not come back to you because we did not have relations with you, or at least communication with you, which we now have through the captain. But it's something that we also need to take into account, that there are other things that are happening in this region that would cause issues with respect to trying to grow and what's the right term to make it more honorable, or whatever they were saying. Originally, I was going to ask what the lady thought, but you made that obvious, so. But he'll give a little bow to both of them and actually be much more regal and, I don't want to say condescending, but deferential. Deferential, yeah. Proper way. Then he'll sit down.
Well, your family is one of the pillars of the Dwarven presence on the island. Please do not misunderstand my previous words. We do know and understand this, and we respect your family and your clan a great deal. And I did suspect this might happen because I had known and I had heard that you were coming from the east, from the west. If you choose to go back to the west rather than establish the quarry and the mine, that's fine. We can find another group to establish the quarry and the mine. The problem is that we don't exactly know what is to the west. So we were going to send out scouting parties to find out before we established any sort of formal request. But from the sound of what you're saying, I take it that you are declining the invitation to investigate and establish a road into the east, and you would like to be the group that investigates the west.
Sir, what I would like to ask is, could we, and I know this is an imposition upon you and your authority, especially with having you and your wife here, would you give us a few minutes to discuss it among ourselves so we could decide which way we want to, if we would like to accept your proposal or propose a different solution or remedy or course of action? I'm just bringing up that I wanted you to be aware of what was going on, and thank you for reminding me, it's actually to the west, what was happening in the west and what we were doing at the time. And should we come to an agreement to work with you on this, we would like to probably know what that percentage distribution that the lady mentioned would be. As we discuss our options.
Not
You know,
for a mercenary lot.
Hey,
Yes,
do you know how much an LP set costs?
Very well. The Lady Helen and I can retire for our noon meal, our midday meal. We will leave you for roughly 1/2 hour. And they both stand up at the same time.
Grimbol,
I believe we
stand up.
probably all stand up well, and we'll say, we thank you very much, and we can just converse with Captain Trestle if you would prefer, because I know you are very busy with everything that has happened recently.
We will see you in 30 minutes, Lady Helen says. And then they exit, and Captain Trestle leaves behind them. He shuts the doors.
Okay, guys. I went from Bernie to gracious, so I'm done. What do you gentlemen, what do you guys think?
I think we have to put all the silverware back.
Yeah, I think Bernie would already killed him by now, but Mahl's just mildly disgusted. So,
What is Mahl disgusted about?
you got a goblin problem, and he's worried about exploring and reopening mines. You got to kill goblins.
Well, I mean, he's already said that he's addressing that.
He also mentioned that there were possibly goblins in the mines. So.
Yeah, wasn't that the direction they were heading to? We saw some of them running off.
Oh, there'll be. Sorry.
You okay?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Crump. Sorry.
Trip is all about going to the mines because he's about to get a magic item, so that's where I'm going.
Yeah, the goblins had headed into the foothold. Some of them had headed into the foothold mountains, apparently.
Ah, okay. Well, if that's where the
Part of
goblins
it was-
all's fine with
Part of
that.
it was I wanted to make the Baron aware of what we were doing in the west because I don't know directions. Because we still hadn't done the Karnak thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There were still the missing acolytes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
I just wanted to bring that so we are thinking about all that, and because technically the Baron would not know about the cult of Narrheit or the Narrheit stuff that we had run into. All they know of is that the goblins attacked.
But the goblins have been a bit that well, actually, Grimbol wouldn't know this. Okay, but maybe you told him. So that that goblin priest has been a bit of a pain. Whatever.
Yeah,
it
the
is.
Eldritch Goblin came back.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And he has stolen something.
Well,
We actually
sort of.
Yeah, it's stolen back, kind of,
Yeah, well, but finders keepers and all that, man. Come on.
And that is still part of the Narrheit stuff, because that was the
Yeah.
horn, right? The drinking
Yeah.
horn.
There's a
It's
drinking
one of
horn,
the, I don't know what you call it, but it's a relic.
but it's some kind of artifact.
Narrheit.
Yep.
I think it's all connected.
Most likely. I just wanted us to have the ability to think about which way we want to do this. So what do you guys want to do? Do you want to start working closely with the Baron or not? It'll really tick Bernie off.
I like the idea of making the road and going to both locations. I think that's kind of cool.
And Grimbol will be like thinking about it. It's like, he's new to town anyway, so it's like, I don't see any harm in being friends with the Baron. It gives us a base.
Yeah. And I think it would be a place along the way, even for our other alternate characters, to possibly have.
Establish some form here.
Yeah, we open up an inn.
Exactly.
Profit off of this.
Trip's fixing to get on the city council once we finish this.
There you go.
There you go. Marry the Baron's daughter, maybe.
So when Lady Helen said a percentage of what we bring back, that's physically what we bring back, right? Not total of what the mine produces? Because I'm thinking maybe we could argue for, since we're the one clearing out and setting up this mine,
We have
get a percentage of its future profits, period.
Ooh.
Business
That's
endeavor.
great. That is
That's
great
true.
thinking, Burt.
I'm going to stay out of that conversation because I've already pissed him off enough.
You see what Burt learned on coming back from his training.
Exactly.
That's right.
While me as a player, I like the idea, I don't think the cleric in me would like it as much.
Well, but you could donate to the
Honest
church.
work, though, right? We're going, we're clearing it out, we're making it functional. Therefore, we deserve a cut of the profits it brings back.
But you don't
And-
own it.
Yeah, they own it. It's theirs, So
Well, we're just looking. I do like the idea of. Grimbol definitely likes the idea of a percentage stake in the mine.
could we have
long-term.
royalties off of their property?
However you guys work it, all I want is access to any and all tomes that have language of creation in it.
So, what are you going to propose?
Sounds like the group is leaning towards working with the Baron, or at least helping opening up the quarry and the mine or whatever with respect to getting goblins, correct?
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
I definitely like the idea of maybe a long-term income plan.
Start saving for retirement out here,
Yeah. Huh? You always get bored, you go kill a few goblins.
All right, so we'll go back to the Baron, or the Baron comes back, and
Well, hang on. what do we want to present to the Baron when they come back? Because you have a half hour to discuss all this, so that's the way to go about it.
So we're going to go to the mines. We're going to help clear out both the mines, make sure both the roads are safe. We'll bring back half the treasure, or whatever the percentage is. We'll go with whatever they want. And then ask for a 3% stake, Alex. You think that's good?
I think 3% is a good number, yeah.
A 3% stake in the productions of the mines for 2 years, and then it'll drop to 2% for 5 years, and then 1% for 5 more years after that, before dropping to 0.
The one problem I have with this thing is this whole thing about making the roads safe. Now, making the roads safe, if he's not putting up any troops, and he really didn't indicate that he was willing to put any troops to it.
Yeah, he did. He said he was going to. He fell short of saying conscript, but he said any able-bodied adult in town who wants to be part of the militia is going to.
I mean, I heard him say that, but and if you're saying that, I mean, obviously you're speaking for him to some degree. So, but to me, to Mahl, hearing what he had to say was, yeah, we're going to have plenty of people to take care of that, because we're gonna make sure everybody does their part, which means nothing. And that's why Mahl is like, okay.
Maybe he's going to build like little watchtowers along the way or whatnot.
Well, see, that's the thing is like, yeah, I've got a plan. I'm going to put 400 or 500 people on this, and we're going to make the roads safe. I mean, I think it's just something we need to get clarification on, so that we aren't for 15 years having to patrol this road. Because frankly, I don't feel like that's where I want to be.
That's
but
fair.
I'll be happy to go help make it the beginning, but I don't want that to be my life's work.
I believe that is what we're supposed to do, is go clear it out, clear out the quarry / mine area, and then renegotiate as long-term. We're not saying we are going to be the wardens of the area.
Yeah, we're not committing.
Right.
Although if you ask for a portion of the mine, they might ask you to do that, since you'll now have a big stake in how productive that mine is, to be perfectly honest. You don't want to give 2 craps about protecting the road, but you want 3% of the mine's profit.
Yeah, Mahl, we'll ensure the safety of the road if we get 3%, because we'll just hire retainers and put them out there.
There you go.
That's true.
Sounds good.
Well, in that case, we start at 5%.
Oh, don't get greedy now. They're going to kick us out.
No, but then but I like this idea of bringing in, hiring people to protect it.
How about 4%?
I'd say we start. I mean, this is just the beginning of our relationship, and if we get any percent stake in the mine, then we have credibility, and we're establishing ourselves in the town. We're dedicated to the outcome of it because of our investments.
So remember, this can all backfire as well, right?
Yeah.
This is the Baron and his wife who have been so gracious to us. I think for us, this is our chance, our opportunity. It's not the reward. I actually think this would insult on a certain level. We're just basically a bunch of punks, I think, to that. We have a use and everything, but, there's not a big investment.
Yeah, but we're just bodies for hire, basically.
Yeah.
That's all they think about us, right? We're not nobility.
Well, there is that aspect too, but we're just here to do a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think their offer was, we're going to pay you off that percentage that you back. I don't think it's really negotiable. I'm just throwing that out there.
But if you don't ask.
We don't have any leverage.
Can't hurt to ask.
Oh, it can.
It can't hurt to ask the right way.
It's showing that we're invested in the long-term health of Indelofen and the mine.
Yeah. Because we wouldn't be doing this.
So
right?
let me ask you this. Who's going to be the person to ask then? Because you're going to have to be real careful with your asking.
Yeah, we need someone who is,
Charismatic.
Diplomatic's maybe more of the better word. But charismatic will definitely not hurt.
Trip is pretty charismatic.
Charismatic and diplomatic sounds good.
Grimbol,
Okay, so are you ready for the Baron and...
I don't care. Let him
Baron?
do it. I'm not going to ask him.
I think so.
Okay, so 35 minutes go by, and you all discuss everything amongst and betwixt each other. And
Grimbol notes that they are 5 minutes late.
Uh-huh.
Until-
Well, to be fair, the Lady Helen said 30 or 40 minutes. Or the Baron said 30 or 40 minutes, and she said 30 minutes. So...
Okay.
So yes, they are late, but they're not late, right?
Perfect.
So he comes back in, and Lady Helen follows him, and Captain Trestle steps in after them, of course, again, and closes the door. And the Baron sits, and Lady Helen sits, and the Baron says, "Have you come to a decision about which particular task you would like to undertake?"
So Trip rises, bows deeply to both the Baron and the Lady Helen. Your Eminence, as you can see, I am not very familiar with the ways of the court, but we have discussed it, and we definitely have a vested interest in the health and wellness of the town, and a common desire in growing Indelofen into the projection of the dream that we all see inside of it, to tap into the potential to make it the jewel of the island. And then he looks at the lady and looks back at the Baron again, and he says, "There was a small request, and please take no offense to this. As I said, I'm very unaware of the ways of the court and what to request or not to request, or how to speak to nobles. You are actually the first nobles I've ever spoken to, so I hope I don't cause any offense, but would it be possible if we were to clear out the mines and establish the road and prepare it safely and guarantee results that we can get it accomplished? Would we be able to have a small percentage of the profits of the mines, only 3%, for a few years to come, to establish our residence into Indelofen and become, some of us are not permanent residents like my friend the dwarf Rekmit, but we would definitely like to reside here and help in the flourishment of the jewel of the island."
And I would forego that percentage for the continued kindness that you have always shown St. Luther.
You see
And then I bow deeply again. And I had cast prestidigitation on my clothes before he came in to make sure they're all nice and clean.
The Baron is quiet for an uncomfortable length of time. And he says, Young Master Tripp, I take you at your word when you say that you have no experience with the hierarchy and pageantry and expectations of an audience with members of a noble house. Therefore, I will not take offense at what you have requested, but I will instead explain to you what you have asked. You have asked that a nobleman and his wife and family, after having taken care of an entire region for a very long time, bequeath a portion of profits of their own personal holdings to you for doing a simple task for which the Baron and his noble house and family have already proffered a fair payment. Or, let me put it this way, we have already suggested a fair payment to you. And you are asking for more than that, in the form of me ceding a portion of my family holdings to a non-noble house.
Tripp bows again, even deeper than before, if that's possible, to both the Baron and the lady. No, my liege. I do not ask for a payment, but only you said before you saw the potential of our group, that you invest in us to build us as strong, able members of the community of Indelofen, and so that we are able to build the town within ourselves, so you don't have to be associated with so many tasks and day-to-day of anything that goes on. We will take this place in the town as that entity. So I'm not asking for a reward. You were most fair.
Now you
but
are suggesting that we designate you leaders in town so that you can take over and do certain tasks so that we do not have to? You misunderstand if you think we mind doing these tasks. This is our calling. This is what our family does. We are the rulers of this region, and we have been caretaking it and have been good stewards of this region for many years. Dare I say, up until just a few days ago when the goblins sieged our town. We are now in crisis, and you are quibbling over 3% of a hold of a mine that we do not even know if it's going to produce, that is part of my personal family, not part of the wealth of the town itself. Lady Helen and I have been taking care of all of the residents of this town and region for our entire lives.
Not at all, Your Highness. I mean, if the mine produces nothing, then we gain nothing. It is only an investment in the potential that you see. Is it not the same if you bequeath land to another fellow?
Are you saying that you have done enough, that you would expect a bequeathment of land?
Not at all, Your Eminence, but
that is the
only
comparison you are making.
It is the comparisons after I clear the mines and establish the roads and a strong trade for Indelofen so that it can grow into the jewel of the island. Only then might I even question to seek any recompense in what we're speaking of, a bequeathment.
Let me tell you that I have never provided land or a bequeathment or a salary of any sort to any person in my employ or in my family who has asked for it. I do it because the person deserves it. You have done no task yet. To ask is putting the cart before the horse.
I argue not that you are correct. I simply was a question. I withdraw the question if you'll kindly allow me to do so. And then I bow again very deeply to both of them As I said, I am not familiar in the ways of the court, and I again meant no offense, but it seems I have caused some. It was only a simple question, as my eyes dream of what Indelofen could be.
What of the rest of you at the table? Does Master Trip speak for all of you?
Indeed.
In this matter, he does.
He does not speak for the Cleric of Durendale.
Rekmit will go.
He doesn't particularly speak for me either.
I would just like to know the percentage, and I will let Captain Trestle know the other matters that I would like help with. But the percentage of what we find, what comes back to the Baron or to Indelofen's coffers, I would like to know what that percentage is, just so we know for the group. And also consideration on, and I'll let Captain Trestle know about what I'm looking for outside of this. I don't want any other recompense as a result. What the Kraystocks have done for my family is more than enough for me to help out in this matter.
Master Tildor?
Oh, not affiliated. I step back.
But you have said that Master Trip does not speak for you.
That is correct.
Who speaks for you?
I have no qualms in this discussion. I am fine, most comfortable with your offer.
And Mahl, you are silent.
Yes, I
Who
was.
speaks for you?
Well, I'm sure to speak me up to a degree, but I don't really care about any money. So I don't really care what happens here. I mean, if you want me to help, I'll help. If you don't, I'll go kill goblins.
So Grimbol will stand up, so bow to the Baron. So Baron, seems like you have a decision to make. Do you want our help or not?
Wait, now what's on the table is that you are declining any task that I request of you?
You seem to be questioning whether we are worthy of helping you.
No, that is not the question at all. I do not question that you are worthy of help. I question the outcome because I do not know what it is yet. And my particular position is that I cannot promise a payout that includes giving away some of my holdings when I do not even know the outcome. I did not rescind the request.
Of course, your graciousness. Again, apologies for my lack of knowledge. I don't think we mean any offense. We're just unaware of dealings with nobles. We're used to dealing with traders on the street and speaking in much harsher and firmer tones so we can maintain position and stance and image. That's where our mindset is coming from. Speaking of things we've done before, I mean, this small band has stopped the ogre and the goblin who were destroying the west side of town. We've discovered a church of Narrheit, found one of the missing acolytes, and killed a elder goblin with blue skin. We are very capable, my lord, but we simply just don't understand how to speak with you without causing offense. Please accept our apologies, and after we complete this job, perhaps you will throw us some small consideration.
Lady Helen looks over at Burt and says, Mr. Longfellow, what will you bring to the table when the group completes this task? You've been very quiet. I would like to hear what you have to say.
I was originally on board with the idea of a stake in the mine. However, I have since seen that that is no longer appropriate. Therefore, I'm happy with the terms that we've laid out. I don't believe you've given us a percentage yet, but giving you part of the treasure goes towards rebuilding Indelofen, and part pulled onto his payment seems fair enough to me.
But you did not answer my question. What will you bring to the group? What is your skill set?
I am good at scouting ahead, quite small and quick on my feet, and I don't think the group has any questions that I'm a valuable member. I aid in helping getting the job done. I have my ways.
The Baron looks at everyone. He says, please do not misunderstand. Not everyone gets an audience with the Baron, especially at a time of crisis. We chose you because we know you are capable. The entire group, we know, is capable. And we also know that you can be discreet. We would rather not spread around the news that we are heading into the footholds so that we can open a new quarry and mine. Until we know that it is a task that can be completed and that we can actually use it to our benefit, then we can tell the people. Then we can tell the townsfolk. Then we can celebrate the work. But until then, we would prefer that you do not speak of this. You'll have to trust me when I tell you you will be grandly compensated, but it won't be a percentage of the mine's profits.
Understood, Your Eminence, Your Highness. Thank you very much for your kindness, and thank you for forgiving me for my indiscretion. I will bow to the Lord and Lady and take my leave. If they'll let me, if they're ready to let me
Gets
go.
up and walks out.
If they're ready to let me go.
Yeah, if you
Captain opens the door, kicks you out.
If the guy with the sword isn't still standing in front of the door.
Slams the door behind you.
Okay, so is there anything else that anyone needs to get in before the Baron leaves?
I think it's us taking our exit.
Yeah, but I mean before. So Trip is going to get up and leave, and Captain Tressel opens the door for him so that he can leave.
Yeah, I didn't want to offend him. I just meant if he's done, I'm going to go ahead and go.
Yeah. No, they won't stop you. But
I'll wait to be dismissed.
It doesn't mean the rest of the people.
Yeah.
Did we get a percentage? Did I miss it?
No, we didn't. Grimbol was about to stand up and ask for that. So precisely what the terms are. So Grimbol stands up and he's like, so we've established we're not getting a percentage of the overall profits. Understand. But you never did actually, and I trust you will be handsomely rewarding us, but you never did discuss what that would be, other than some percentage.
I will be perfectly honest with you and tell you that I'm not sure what you're going to find in the mine, and I'm not sure what you're going to find in the quarry. But before those locations were closed, there was some trouble. And there was some robbery.
Oh, here comes the second part.
And whatever was there at the time when the raids happened, if it's recoverable, it's yours. If there's nothing there when you return, I will pay you each 5 gold per day.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Seems fair.
Little more information about this trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You said, was it simply goblins or something else?
Well, we're not exactly sure. The mine had several incidents before it was ruled too dangerous to maintain. And the records, just like the maps, burnt up, so it's unclear exactly what was happening. It probably was not something as simple as goblins. We fear that it was something of a haunting nature.
I assumed you were going to say something. Well, my blade is strong. Okay. Well,
and of course, you know, the land between here and there is undeveloped, so there are dangers in the wilderness as well.
Of course. We've traveled the wilderness many times. I have no fear of the wilderness, but it's good to know it may be spiritual that we're facing rather than physical. Is there anybody in town who has any recollection of these things?
Not that I know of. It was kept very close to the vest. It was kept as a personal family failure more than a town issue. So the family historians are the ones who kept the records, and of course that is what burned up.
It's unfortunate.
Indeed.
And, sorry, remind me, how far away are these places? I was thinking of many things as you were explaining.
Mm-hmm. So now the DM has to look at the map.
That was my question. Is it on the map, or is it to the east of what we have?
So on the regional map, let me put the regional map up here in... here's the regional map, so that you all can see it in Owlbear. And I've put it on the screen for the audience, if it loads up. There we go.
Actually, it comes on the screen quicker than Albert.
Yeah. So this, let me get a pointer here. This up here, all of these elevation lines, that's the beginning of the Foothold Mountains.
Foothold Mountains, yeah.
So it's basically beginning anywhere like in this area, possibly all the way up to here where the trees are.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, so you're talking about leaving here, either going around Goat Hill this way or going around the other way, and then following the Lowlark branch of the Indelark River and going up into the footholds.
And that's the quarry, correct?
That is that's going to be the quarry and the mine are only a few miles apart. The quarry sits a little bit lower. It's purported to be more in this area over here, whereas the mine is much higher elevation.
So, would there be any remnants of old roads
We will find out.
that they used back in the day?
That is, yeah. So there are some roads up to and through the Hollow Forest, but what's beyond that is unmapped at this point.
I mean, okay. So effectively 13 miles as the crow flies to the top of the woods. 13, 14 miles. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be an adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, each of these hexes on this particular map is a half mile, so.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's a good day's walk. You're going up and down hills, so probably a really good day's walk to get to the top of the woods.
Right. Yeah, because your travel rates are, you can go about 8 miles in a day.
Oh, it's as low as that?
If the it goes by the lowest speed PC, which is 20 feet, and that's about, if you travel and you don't fatigue yourself and you're being, careful, it's about 8 miles a day. Now, in the mountains, it'll get lower, right? Because it's harder to traverse.
Yeah. Okay.
I was going to ask, is that road travel? Because up until Hollow Bridge is all road. Is that 8 miles from that?
Yeah, so the 8 miles per day, roughly speaking, is based on top speed of the person with 20 foot movement, and on sort of gentle ground. So roads, you might actually get a little bit faster on the road. On no path, but basically flat ground, you're going to get 8 miles a day. As soon as you get into the forest or the hills or mountains, it's going to drop.
That speed of the slowest member of 20 feet might increase, though, as soon as I'm done talking to Captain Tressel.
Well,
You gonna get whacked?
I mean, he owes me something to make me quicker. We'll see if he comes through or
Okay,
not.
Grimbol's still gonna be the slowest one.
Yeah.
Yes, I am at 20 as well. So.
yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, we have, there's a couple, and even dwarves don't move that quick.
Right.
Yeah, we're all 20 feet.
I think the
Those
tax
puppy
captain
legs.
teach you how to fly.
Okay.
Say that again, George?
I think the captain could teach you how to fly.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yep,
so.
right.
Maybe
We can
so.
do that.
But then he'd be breaking the Baron's orders.
It's all right. We're getting paid by the day. We should definitely take our time walking there, man.
Slow amble.
Like a mile a day on the safe road, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, 5 gold a day. We can take our time on this one. 3.5 years later, we show back up and say, "We found it. Here's our bill."
Don't forget, you're going to have 2
Or
surveyors.
you could settle for that 3% of the mine if you wanted to.
Yeah, right.
As was stated, there will be surveyors with us, so there's someone reporting on our progress.
I suppose.
Surveyors only last as long as they last. The goblins came out of nowhere, and down went the surveyors.
Yeah.
Should we prepare for the journey?
We should probably prepare for a journey.
Yeah, so if you actually have requests for specific equipment, Captain Tressel tells you that if you have a request for a specific piece of equipment, you need to let him know, and he'll make sure that they either go through the treasury and purchase the items for you, or they find the items in the treasury and give them to you to use.
Ooh.
So Grimbol turns to the group and says, so should we just ask for some horses?
I was thinking the same.
I mean, it's not
How
like
much,
it's really hard going.
How much do
Yeah,
little
we should get
ponies
fair
usually
price.
cost?
How much do they usually cost? That's a good
Yeah,
question.
little gnome-sized ponies.
Oh, they're like 2 cents.
That is actually a good request, is to ask for rations, horses, and like something for pack animal.
We have Burt has his goat, Betty the goat, that we were going to make a saddle for, but I don't think we actually made around to it. But Betty could at least be a pack animal.
Oh, Rekmit's
We can
been working on
probably,
it.
yeah, we can probably get those supplies from the captain anyway. But the captain is about to dip into the treasury if we need any specific items.
Yes, I could use some specific items.
Well, we're also going to need to
Specific-
mark the road,
So
or where the road was or should be.
Specific magic items,
So
George. Now you like me, don't you?
so
I'm in civil engineering right now.
a mule costs 25 gold pieces usually.
Horse is
And
7.
horses are just a light riding horse is 75 gold. Each.
But then by the time you throw it on saddlebags, blankets, saddle, right, you're at basically 100 gold for a horse.
Right, so you've got bit and bridle.
I'm sure
you've got
Burt could guess.
blankets, feed for the horses,
No, horses will eat the grass.
pack saddle for the mule.
Yeah, it'd be quite an undertaking.
But I mean, the
mean,
other problem is if we do have the horses, what do we do when we go into the mines? We have to go into the mines, right?
Attach them to the outside.
They do become a little vulnerable.
The surveyors could stay out there with them.
Oh, right, so they get eaten instead of the horses. I like that.
There you go. It's also
What else would you like? So you're going to request.
Where do you want me to
6
put my
horses.
request?
You're gonna request 1 mule and 6 horses.
I mean, do we need the mule, to be honest?
Yeah, I mean, to carry the survey equipment. The surveyors might need that, not us.
Oh, the surveyors, yeah.
Well, you're not equipping the surveyors. The surveyors will have whatever they need, so you don't have to worry about that.
Done with that mule.
So you don't want the mule, okay?
I would
Unless
like a
it's,
short bow,
unless
a
it's the
quiver of
same mule that we
arrows.
already loved.
This is what now? What'd you say?
I said I would like to see if I can get a short bow, a quiver of arrows, 4 daggers, and a couple of hand axes.
got a lot of goblins to kill. Gotta be prepared.
Oh, and leather armor if it's at all possible.
Okay. Anything else?
I have one request, but I'm looking it up. So I'm a simple man. I don't need any of those things or armor or weapons. I don't even need a horse if it's too much
You go,
trouble.
little
but
man.
I would like some type of magical item to enhance my quickness or something like along those lines. Oh, what was that cloak I was using against Steve? That cloak of displacement or something? Oh, that would be great if the Baron's got one of those.
Yeah, we'd all like one of those.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure the Baron is not going to give you one of those. Just saying.
Here, take mine.
Yeah, I like the cloak of concealment after he gets his cloak of displacement.
Any other requests?
No, Grimbol will go and buy some. We'll go and wander through town and get some more crossbow bolts.
Okay.
A few more of those. You can never have too many crossbow bolts.
I mean, they will give you those out of the armory if you want. If you don't
Oh,
want to
okay.
buy them.
Fair enough.
Some torches. Torches would be nice.
How many torches?
I don't know, half a dozen.
Okay. Anything
Water
else?
skins, maybe a small cask of whiskey, brandy, for medicinal purposes, of course.
For medicinal purposes, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
If they have any healing potions, That would be useful.
Healing potions, healing salves.
Yeah, anything of the sort.
Poison. I mean, not poison, but counter poisons.
Antidote, you mean? Antivenom?
One question I have is, if we're going into mines / dangerous areas, what are the surveyors going to do while we do that, and who's going to protect them while we do that?
They're going to wait at the top.
They're going to have to.
Right.
That will come with us.
Should they have 1 or 2 people to guard them that we should request?
Oh, I mean, that's up to them, right?
Well, it's something we should question them about, because if we go in and they stay behind because they don't want to come in, that does not keep them from being attacked by goblins that aren't where we are.
Well, yeah, but our job isn't to survey. Our job is to clear it out. The surveyors got their own job, so they need to be packing for themselves. Samuel already said we're not packing for them.
Right, but your job is also to kind of protect them as they are going. Because
Yeah.
part of your job is to make sure the road can be built, and that's what they're doing.
So, yeah, like ask for 3 or 4 guards to guard the surveyors
You
and the
are
horses.
the guards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, something to keep in mind. The surveyors are going to have to come with us then, and we're going to have to keep them protected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or we can just kill them.
Samuel, I would just like to request like some boots of quickness or maybe a cloak of quickness. Just some tiny, small, magical enchanted item as my request. Nothing else. I don't care about anything else.
I don't blame you.
I'd like a ring of 27 Rune ability. If we're going to be crazy,
I want a ring of 3 wishes, you know?
It's not crazy. I already asked the Baron, and he said, yeah, no problem. I'll check the treasure room. And I'm going to flaunt these boots in front of Jake's face all day long.
There you go. With the big red heel.
I'm going to prestigitate them a different color every day.
He's going to click his heels together. There's no place like Rekmit's homestead. There's no place like Rekmit's.
I wouldn't say that because I've never been allowed there. So,
all right. So, any other specific requests that you're going to make?
No.
Okay.
We're good.
All right. Is there anything that you're going to do in particular? Before you head out?
Well, maybe request one more thing, like mining equipment, in case we need to like dig through a cave-in or something like that, since we're going in a mine.
Then you may need the mule. I did think of one more thing. If we could get like 2 or 3 flasks of oil.
Okay. All right.
So Grimbol goes up to Jake and is like, I think we should get some holy water from the temple.
Yeah, great idea.
He did say something about spirits or ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys need to fight that stuff off?
I don't know.
Holy water is potentially good.
Yeah.
You got any rope?
I have rope.
We have rope. Cool.
You can never have too much rope. Just
That's
think.
true.
Or torches.
No,
It's like
'cause we've been
oil,
known to
torches,
get
rope.
up.
You can have as much as you want.
A few hundred feet of rope, I guess. I don't know.
Has happened. We have cut up 200 feet of rope and used it.
Mm-hmm. You can, yeah. Let's see. I mean, the basics like rope, oil, torches. Does anybody actually have a lantern? I'm just curious.
No, I don't have a lantern.
Nope, I got some torches, but that's it.
Okay.
Although I think most of us... is anyone still a human?
Yeah, if she...
Oh, we got Jake, right? Jake's human.
Jake's a human.
Jake can't see nothing in the dark.
Can't see.
I'm working on it.
There's
Too
graphics
bad he
next
didn't
week.
ask for boots of night vision. Missed that opportunity.
That's right.
Well, I got the torches.
Jake's got Rekmit. He doesn't need anything to see in the dark.
Yeah, just put your hand on Rekmit's shoulder and go. Follow him.
Rekmit would never lead Jake astray.
Never.
Ever.
unless it was funny.
I even have the spell called Summon Rekmit.
That would actually be kind of funny.
Yeah.
He's off training. Crap! Not now, I'm busy.
You saved my life. I'll never forget that.
I was about to master the universe. And stir all over.
I need help making this fire. That's why I summoned you.
Alright. So, can we get like 500 feet of rope? We probably should take a mule then.
If we're carrying 500 feet of rope, yeah, we should definitely bring a mule. I'm not looking at that.
I
I'm
could see
thinking
it dragging it, though.
Bunch of oil, bunch of rope,
Well,
torches, rations.
Jake is a cleric of Durendale, so it's kind of like a mule. We can just fill him up with a rope.
Although if we have horses, we can. I mean, once we get to the mine, right? There's nothing. Unless there's. I guess if it's a mine, maybe we can take the animals in. Actually.
Yeah.
We don't know what the mine's or how it's configured.
Yeah, we might be able to take animals in.
So you'll get to the quarry first, and the gem mine is up the mountain, right?
Okay. So the quarry. Oh, the quarry. Well, the quarry's going to be open, right?
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Okay.
So I think-
oh, go ahead.
No, so I was thinking it's like horse each, a mule. Probably a mule's a good idea. Thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of rope. So I don't know, 500 feet of rope on top of what we have on anybody else. I've got 5 flasks of oil, but maybe a bunch of oil. Torches. Anything else we need? I have.
Pikings or spikes may be handy. You
Yeah.
don't want any hammers, maybe to drive them in, that might be a good thing to do. I have one. I don't know if anyone else does.
Yeah, I have hammer and spikes, but we could always get more spikes. And crap, just went. So Jake and I'll go and try and get some holy water, see if that works. What else?
Oh, healing potions or salves. Did he have requested that yet?
Yeah, it's on my list.
Maybe some bandages.
Bandages could be good. Other thing would be, pickaxes and shovels. Just get some of those. One of those.
Plenty of tobacco.
Oh, we've established we need ale and whiskey.
Oh wait, ale too?
Oh, you need a chaser for the whiskey, don't you?
This is going to be a long journey, right?
Yes, it is. Maybe get some cheese as well.
It's a day and a half to get there, and then all of our searching to find the place, secure the place, and anything we run into on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dwarven strongholds, whatever. Old monasteries.
I think we need a tent as well. 2 tents we can get.
And one nice strong block of rosewood.
Okay, so you have a big list here.
I mean, he did.
So here's the list. 6 horses. They give you 6 horses. Every horse has a saddle blanket and a saddle and some saddle bags and enough feed for a month. They give you a mule with a pack saddle, or with a pack with saddlebag type packs, right?
Right.
They give Mahl a short bow, 4 daggers, a quiver of arrows, 2 hand axes, and the leather armor that he requested.
Thank you.
They give you a small cart for the mule to pull, which has 12 torches, 2 kegs of ale, 2 casks of whiskey, 500 feet of rope, 6 pickaxes, 6 shovels, and 4 flasks of oil. They give you each 2 healing potions.
Ooh.
Okay, so low strength, like cure light wounds, right?
Yeah.
They also give you each 6 fresh bandages with healing salves. Trip. Lady Helen brings you a pair of boots. And when she's got them in her hand, they look like the absolutely ugliest boots you have ever seen in your life. If you were to describe them, if somebody were to ask you, describe the worst pair of boots that you would never wear, that's what she's holding. And she hands them to you.
Before I accept them, I bow until my forehead almost touches the floor, and then I graciously take them.
She says, "You must be very careful with these. They look too big for you, but when you put them on, they will conform to your size and your specifications. But
yes, my lady.
They will age you. You must be careful with your use of them."
I cannot thank you enough. I'll look out of the corner of my eye for Jake.
I applaud him. Did a little golf clap, you know. Good job, man. Good job.
Jake, Alistair gives you a small 6-inch rod. It's about 1 inch in diameter.
Okay.
And he says, this is a continual light rod. If you tap it on a stone surface, it will be as if you've cast a light spell. If you tap it again, it will go off. You can use it twice a day. If you use it a 3rd time, you will drain it of all of its energy.
I thank him.
He also gives you 12 vials of holy water.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, how many vials?
12. He says, unfortunately, the request for poison antidote can't be fulfilled because we don't have any.
Okay.
Just gotta look something up real quick.
Actually, they had any magic items that provided any kind of extra protection.
As all thought I was crazy.
Oh yeah, I thought Trip was crazy, and he wasn't. That's awesome.
Well, just because he got it doesn't mean he's not crazy.
That's true.
Might just be lucky.
Well, he's got it because he's crazy.
Burt, Lady Helen brings you a small bag. And she says, inside this bag is something that I think will be useful to you.
All right, thank you.
The patrons at Lady Helen's tea house send their regards to you.
Kind of nod understandingly.
Very good. Good luck. All right, so I don't think that we want to start out on our journey just yet because it's already 10:08.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some things. So I am not usually a DM that asks for requests for magic items. But you know, since you requested them and it happens to be a particular place where it's possible that they could have these, then I obliged.
So I'm curious, did you roll or did you just like, sure, it could work?
So I rolled a percentage chance of whether they would have it in the treasury.
Mm-hmm.
How close were we to getting thrown in the dungeon?
We do just a devout trip at that point.
Not really close. I mean, you know, the Baron he needs you, right? He needed you to do the task. But he doesn't want you to be rude, right? So, you know, he's not going to throw you in the jail, in the dungeon, unless you're really super offensive, you know. And, you know, the things that you're asking are typical peasant things that people ask, right? Like it's not as if he's never been requested that he gives someone something, right?
I knew that would change your mind when I said we're used to dealing with the merchants on the streets. I don't know how to talk to you, guy.
But he has to, you know, keep his bearing, right? He's not going to let his bearing drop just because he knows you don't know how to talk to him. Much of the offense is, I don't want to say feigned offense because it is real, like, you know, but, you know, you're in a private audience. So who's looking, right? Like nobody is seeing this occur. So if he were to not punish you for offending him, it's no sweat off of anybody's back, right? If you were in open court or in an open market in town and you did that same thing, there would have been much different consequences. I don't mean you necessarily, but the whole, as a group, if all that had happened, you all would have been hauled off, right?
He means Rekmit.
Well, it would have started with Rekmit because none of you told Rekmit, hey man, get out of that chair, right? And even after Captain Tressel said that you should probably not sit there, nobody else said, yeah, move, you should move. So, yeah, if that had happened in an open court or in public, that would have been it. So, but in terms of how it was actually, you know, set up as a private audience, you weren't actually close to going to the dungeon. So,
I'll say it's a good thing Bernie wasn't there. He would have taken a shot at the guy.
yeah, so that would have sent you all to the dungeon.
It was Baron and Rekmit playing a little game to each other, saying, "I know you're in power. I'm still going to play with you because I saw you in there."
Yeah.
I know you're still in charge.
So, yeah. So, no combat tonight, but a very good role-playing session. And I think that... so, and just to be clear, you know, if you had all said, you know what, yeah, we really want to go back west and we want to keep pursuing what we were doing, he would have said, fine, come back when you get some results and tell me what happened, and someone else would have taken care of the stuff in the east in the meantime, right? Or they would have started to. So I was not intending to railroad you into it. I'm just presenting to you the motivations of the Baron and what he wants you to do. You could have easily said, we'd rather go this other route, right?
Oh yeah, I think that was clear. There was
Okay.
options were. But this is kind of interesting, right? Foraging new paths or refinding old paths.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, this is maybe more beneficial to the town than us finding stuff. I mean, it's still there. We have to be careful of what's happening with Narrheit, but right, the town is in imminent danger. Right, this is more of an emergency.
Right. So there was a suggestion the other day, last week, when we didn't meet because I had issues. That
He got jabbed.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, if I'm here, we're playing, right? And if one or two of you have to miss a session, the rest of us can still play. That's part of the reason why we have 6 players, right? Is so that as long as I'm here, if 2 of you are missing, we have at least 3 or 4 players, we still have a session. But if
I was going to ask you about that. So
right, but if I'm the one that's missing, right, you can't play a session because I'm not here. And so the suggestion is, to plan something, because you all set aside your Wednesday night to play in the game, just like I do, right? And so, like, since we've all set it aside, if something happens and I can't be here, then maybe there should be a backup plan to try to figure out, what you could do instead, so that you're still, like, dealing with the game or doing something fun or whatever, but then it hasn't, like, basically completely derailed your night that I had something happen and I can't be here. So thoughts on that?
I mean, I like the idea. We'd have to talk to Chuck, but they've already talked about having like a movie night or something like that. But if ever you were not able to make it, that would be the quickest thing. If we could have, Chuck or Tim or maybe even George or one of the other guys be able to load up the stream and just show, some stupid movie like Beastmaster from the day, and then we all go get some popcorn and make cheesy comments about it while we're watching it. That would cut the time down from 4 hours to 2 hours. We'd all be having fun, drinking some drinks, making some jokes. I mean, think that would be cool, but
that would be kind of cool, to be honest.
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, can you though? Because I'm pretty sure that movie's copyright.
Yeah, that was the other question.
Right?
that may be
I don't
that's
think you can
right.
actually stream.
I didn't
yeah,
even think about that.
I was thinking of, just like when you're doing a Netflix movie. Maybe so we don't stream it, so maybe it's just us get together and watch it.
Well, how do they show, like, Gandalf on Twitch and all that stuff?
So you can. So there's a fair use thing, right? So if you're doing an actual, like, review of the movie, it's fair use to show clips of a movie of, 1 minute or whatever, right? But you can't show a whole movie and then critique it, right? Because then you're showing the whole thing. And it's kind of, there's this sort of 20-second thing. If you have a clip of something and you use less than 20 seconds and you're using it for effect, a lot of things are kind of considered fair use, right? And if you're doing a review, it's considered fair use as long as you're using short enough clips. If you're doing it for educational purposes, it can be considered fair use as long as you're using certain size clips. But you can't, like, show 45 minutes of an hour-long documentary and call that fair use if you spend the last 10 minutes talking about it. That's not fair use.
I didn't even think about
old
that.
bad sci-fi movies out there that have come out of copyright.
Mm-hmm.
They're like floating around on YouTube that wouldn't be.
Thinking like
And those could be some of those fun to make fun of.
But the only thing is that Twitch may have a policy against it too. We'd have to find out what the Twitch policy is.
Yeah.
I mean, we could just do like a Netflix party, and okay, we wouldn't be streaming for sure, but we could all get together and watch a movie.
Yeah, we could. So we could all watch it on Netflix or Hulu or something, and then show little clips and just talk about it as it's going on.
Yeah,
Well,
we could
TPK night.
We could do that. Yeah.
just not stream the movie, but we could like be streaming voice.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I know Chris, George, myself, and Alex all play video games. We could load up Xbox and have an in-game session or something.
We could run Ark.
Yeah, we
I
could do
have
that.
I have
Play
an Ark server.
Call of Duty and watch me school all these guys.
You could do that and watch me never having played it. Be like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could just hang out and chat.
Yeah,
for
that
an hour.
sounds good. Yeah.
I mean, I could run a one-shot. I'm quite happy to do that, too.
Yeah, something like that may be good. We just use the same initiative rule, and whoever's up next runs a game that week.
I don't know how George feels about it, but yeah, he runs games too. So, I mean, the first thing we need to do is see if we can get, George or somebody access like you have, DM Samuel, where they could start the stream at least.
All that takes is for Chuck to get you a guest key, a guest stream key, and permission. I mean, you'd have to get permission from Trollord Games that you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, nothing else. I mean, this is the Trollord Games Wednesday spot. So if you did it that night, then nothing. It's not like you're going to be, impacting anything, right? You're not going to be pushing anything over, because we're already scheduled for this spot. So.
What do you think, George, Richard?
I mean, if we could get on, I don't mind. One of us could run something. We take turns, or one be kind of the designated alternate DM.
Yeah, do like a one shot or something.
I mean, and if for simplicity's sake, we could just drag the characters over to the other adventure.
I was thinking the same thing. We could just use the same characters like the further adventures of, but they don't gain anything. Like you wouldn't change your hit points or gain any treasure or anything like that.
Yeah, or we just have just run a series of one shots with pre-gens, just to play.
Those pre-gens could actually be NPCs in the setting. So.
Yeah.
Rekmit hasn't said anything in a while. What's he thinking?
Oh, I just have a weekly game where I kill y'all.
That too.
Every week, Cthulhu and Shoggoth come and ruin you, make you mad.
Cthulhu. I like the idea of throwing that out.
Can't use your current characters, we'll roll a new madness stat. That's the world the world building I do is worlds with horror and terror and madness in it.
I've never run Call of Cthulhu, but I love playing it.
It really works with my psyche. Not that that's Rekmit at all.
Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can settle this up, solidify it more on the Discord text.
Okay.
And that way everybody's kind of on board and knows what the plan is. The thing is, like, I never plan to miss a game, right? You know what I'm saying? It just happens. So, yeah. So I the other thing is, so let's see, Burt is second level, and Rekmit is second level, and Jake is second level. Is that right?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. So now you've got 3 second level PCs and 3 first level PCs. All right.
And Jake is the leader of the group, apparently.
Apparently.
You're
That's what he said. Okay, so who's got a calculator?
I have one right here.
Okay, I'm gonna read out some numbers. I just want you to add them all up, okay?
Okay.
75 times 6
Okay.
plus 24 plus 4 plus 25 plus 10 plus 20. Let me look something up. Plus plus 18 plus 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 6 plus 5 plus 50 plus 50 plus 32 one more thing, hold on.
Is this how much our stuff cost?
Plus 50.
Yeah.
What's the total there?
814.
814. Okay.
Mhm.
I was
Much
hoping
more
it was
in debt.
experience points for tonight.
That's not counting the magic items, of course.
Of course.
That's how much gold we owe the Baron.
Yeah, I think that's how much
Yeah.
is taken out of our cut there.
Fair play, fair play.
Oh. Let's see. Okay.
Chris, I was thinking what we could do is we could just tell everybody, most everybody has Netflix, just tell everybody to start the movie, give like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. Everybody hits play at the exact same time, and that way we don't need to show it on Twitch. Everybody's watching it together.
Or you could, I mean, one can do it, or you share screens, or we do a Netflix. I don't think it still works, actually. I had problems.
Well, I mean, with the audience, like we can all do it amongst ourselves, but
What about a Hulu
The
watch
audience-
party?
yeah, for the audience to participate too, just
Yeah.
give a little countdown.
Exactly, you could do that too. So we're not streaming. Absolutely.
okay, so you each earned 386 XP this evening. 386.
Okay. And Grimbol is off the mark.
Trip, those the boots that were given to you are boots of speed. And Burt, what's in the bag is a cloak of elven kind.
Ah, okay, cool.
Ooh,
I was gonna wait
nice.
until we left to look into it.
Very nice.
Okay. All right. And I think that's probably going to be it for today. Just because I need to plan some things now.
Yeah, and Grimbol is, after introducing, talking to everybody, he's going to point out, it's like, yeah, I look kind of tough and rough, but I may fall down very quickly. And he says, here's where my 2 potions of cure light wounds are. And he points to a little
Rekmit
backpack.
motions over to him and gives a little wink and says, I got you, don't worry about it. You're tougher than you think. You're tougher than you know.
All right. Well, so thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate it. And we will be back next week at 7 p.m. Hopefully we won't have technical difficulties, so we will start at 7. And otherwise, say goodbye, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
See ya.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.